Welcome you back to another episode of Speedway Pulse Media Podcast. We got Mustang Challenge rookie this year, Ryan Persing. Ryan, appreciate you coming on. And how's this season been for you?
Honestly, it's been pretty good so far. I came into Sebring with zero experience in a tin top car. Speaking, so I had only 1 year before that in the prototype cars. I don't know if you would call them a formula car, but it's a open wheel, and I started doing pretty well at the end of the season once I got the hang of it, and I jumped right into the GT racing, which for my first race in Sebring, I think I did pretty good for where I was at, but I was mid pack, and then at Laguna Seca, I'm starting to figure it out with my even just my second session in the car. I'm starting to fight up front, and I was fighting for a podium the whole time, but unfortunately, I just couldn't get there. But I'm hoping to do better for the rest of the season.
Coming into this year, it was, the expectation one was, you look at what your brother's been able to do. So, you kind of part of set. But, as you look at Sebring, you were able to go 2 weeks earlier and get to do the Radical Cup and ended up winning. Do you think that really helped build a lot of confidence heading into the weekend?
Yeah, it honestly started off my year good. And so I mean, going into the Mustang Challenge, there was really no pressure at all. It's that there was no expectation because it's my first year. All I was supposed to do this year is develop, but I think hopefully I'm working to pass that expectation so I can build on it, and instead of just developing this year, maybe I can come up with some results. But coming up with a result for the first race of the year for me was very helpful because it takes a little pressure off myself. Like, oh, this is a terrible year. I didn't get any results I wanted. So it was definitely helpful for sure.
Looking between the two, how different is was it at Sebring driving between the Radical and the Mustang?
Uh, the radical, it's just a lot of I think a lot of the things I had to get rid of during my Mustang race was in the radical. It's a lot of for example, in turn one in the radical, you are on the brake for a second and then you're on half throttle the whole way. With that so much aero, it's so weird. You're on the throttle way more than you are in a GT car. In a GT car, you're more, like diamonding corners and you're off throttle, wait, and then back on throttle. It's just a lot of things you gotta get used to.
Looking at, you made a pretty early jump. You went from had a lot of success in the national karting ranks up to Radical and out to Mustang. How would you say the challenge has been, jumping between all three, making the move between them?
Well, so in my karting as a kid, a long time, my dad would I would go, Dad, can I go testing this weekend? Because it started getting very popular. Like, you would have to go to the test and you would have to go to the pre-race, the club race before these national events in karting. And every time my dad would say no. And back then I would be mad at him because I wanted to go racing, right? And I
Yeah.
wanted to be good. But something that taught me was that you have to adapt quickly. And I think that's where I got an advantage over a lot of other people that jump from karting to cars, is because those guys get unlimited seat time in the carts, but when they get to a car, you have two practice sessions at max, and you have to just maximize what you're given. So I think having that experience of just having to deal with the resources that I have taught me a lot. And then it's just enhanced every time I have to move to Radical or I have to move to, the Mustang GT challenge. And so whatever I do in the future, I think all this experience is helpful for me, like it's good.
I remember back in my karting days that the test that was always I got very few opportunities to do the test the week before. I would mostly just jump straight in and the two sessions,
Yeah.
and especially if it was a track I'd never been to, it was pretty hard because the first session, you were pretty off pace. You were just trying to figure out the line and how to drive it, and then the next session was a little better, and then you jump straight into qualifying. So I know what you mean there. It's a real difficult process, and it's kind of same here in IMSA. Y'all have what, 2 40-minute sessions and then straight into qualifying.
Yeah, I know it's brutal for sure. It's just I think it's helpful that I learned that, and I wish I had more testing time, but I gotta deal with what I was given. So I'm fine with what I'm doing right now.
Do you spend a lot of time preparing on the sim, getting ready for a lot of these races?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. My team owner Sam Paley,
Yeah.
actually sometimes he'll hop on the sim with me and we'll talk things through. It's really cool. But I do I try to do realistically, right now, I was in school for the past couple weeks. I try to get on 2, 3 times a week for a couple hours. And, I'm graduating right now. Actually, I'm graduating on Friday from high
How about
school.
that?
So
Yeah,
I have to miss.
congratulations.
Thanks. I have to miss Mid Ohio though, which I'm bummed about. I'd rather be at the track right now.
I know that feeling. Mid Ohio is a fun track. That's a bucket list one for me.
I know. I wish I could do it, but it is what it is.
But you got Watkins at the end of this month, so it's not too long.
No, yeah, I'm excited for Watkins too. I think that Watkins, I can get a positive result.
Or y'all don't have any we were talking about on testing. Do you think you'll have any opportunities to get in the car before then, or is it gonna be kind of just a lot of sim
Yeah,
time between them?
I'm going to the Apex testing
Okay.
for Watkins. It'll be the first time I get to actually test the Mustang, so I'll have a lot of time to just work on getting used to the car and like in a no pressure environment, which is very helpful. I think that's why I have a good opportunity for Watkins. So we'll make some good strides there.
We were talking just briefly about Sam, mutual friend between both of us. Super experienced guy. How helpful has he been to you this year? And also Chris Clark, who's got a little more experience in the car, just doing a few of the Mustang Cup races throughout the year.
Yeah, Chris Clark is very nice, and I really like hanging around with him. He's a great teammate, and also he's good data. I'm glad I have someone else on my team that is fast, and even though he's a Legends driver, he's like keeping up with us, man. He's a good driver, so it's good to have this like data and this guy. And sometimes he'll give me some advice, or like he'll tell me something that I was like, oh, I didn't know that, and it's just cool to have a guy with experience. But on Sam, I actually remember. So we've known Sam for a very long time. He met my brother when I think my brother was 15 or 16 back in the F4 days when my
Yeah,
brother was doing F4. And I think you guys talked about him like together a couple days ago.
last week.
But I remember Sam was staying at our house for a Laguna Seca race because he moved on to MX5 stuff. And I remember I was hanging out with him, and he's like, I came in and showed him my room, and he's like, "Oh, nice gaming setup, man." Because I was a big gamer back then, and I was like, I never would have thought that like a couple of years later that I'd be racing on his team in the IMSA stuff. But it's really cool because we already had a connection going into the season, and like now that we had a little bit of chemistry, it's easy to build off of, and we know each other. We know like our strengths and weaknesses.
What's some of the biggest things you've learned from him? Just seeing him, week to week in those cars, and because he's got so much laps in those Mustang Challenge cars, and
Oh
to the
yeah.
races we got coming up, Watkins, Road America stuff. He's got so much laps and experience there.
It's super helpful because a lot of times he has like folders on his computer that have like laps from last year and laps, and you've got data and all this stuff, and it's just so helpful to have like such a talented driver on the team, just teaching me things. It's I just like having that stuff instead of, having a owner that's a little maybe out of touch just helps me a lot more. You know what I mean? It's just all these
Yeah.
little things. He runs a very organized team too, which for a young guy like him, having that organized of a team is just extremely impressive to me and my family and everyone.
Yeah, Sam's just a year older than me, and the stuff he's able to do and put together, it's really incredible for someone at that age. I'm 22,
Exactly.
he's 23, so we're right there, and what he's able to do, and he's
Yeah.
always he's always traveling. I saw he was up in VIR today with his one of his Mustang Cup guys, and it's always go 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 with him.
I know he's all over the world all the time. I'm like, how do you do that? And he somehow gets it all done. It's
He
like
was just in
no
Monza on
problems.
Sunday and back over here, and I think next week he's back in. They got their next round in Australia. I know
It's crazy.
we got our next GT event up in Atlanta, Road Atlanta next week, so that's gonna be a full week with us there.
Oh yeah, that one's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I love Road Atlanta.
That was where I got my first car podium on the Radical. It was Road Atlanta
How about
last year,
that?
so
That's a
it's a
fun
little special
track.
to me. Yeah, it's a little special. I love that place.
I've done a few laps there. When I was getting out of kart and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and I really wanted to do the open wheel side, but open wheel you got to have so much extra money, and
Uh,
it's just outrageous. Kind of outrageous what some of those people are spending. And so I did a few. I didn't ever get to racing, but I did a few tests with some Spec Miata guys, and Road Atlanta was one of the first tracks I did because I live about 4 hours from there. So we went to always to Roebling Road, Daytona was always right there. So we always had a lot of tracks by that was able to test.
Yeah, I think on the topic of that, I think the GT car stuff is starting. People are starting to realize that that's the path. It's gotten a lot more popular. I know friends from my like school now or from my hometown that know IMSA, which is kind of unheard of just like a couple of years ago. And
Yeah.
I think it's cool that it's blowing up. It's very nice.
I think that, it helps with them moving. The GTLM cars that they ran just, I guess, what, about 5 years ago were cool, but I think the GT3 is a lot cooler because whatever, everyone's got a favorite car, whether it's the Mustang or Porsche, you can practically go buy that car and take it
Yeah.
to so I think that's what's really helped IMSA. But the prototypes are, you know, I think that helped, but the GT is what's really pushed the barrier of making sports car racing cool now.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's the GT race. The prototypes are cool, and they're the like quote unquote peak of IMSA, you know.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see those things go super fast, like go through traffic and stuff. But to be honest, I find myself like watching the GT cars more
I
because
really do
it's just
too.
they're just like it's like a car you see on the street or a car you can like wish to buy or something like that. It's just like, oh, Lamborghini, I know Lamborghini, you
Yeah.
know?
And it's kind of the same thing. People, when I was in school, I was really kind of odd one out. I was a racer and stuff, but then once
Yeah.
COVID kind of hit, that's when everyone went into this kind of frenzy. Now Formula One's the cool thing, and so all my
Oh yeah.
friends at school were asking me like, "Why don't you ever go to Formula One?" Or it's like, "Well, you can't. It's so unaffordable to go to those races, and I don't really want to have to relocate all the way out to Europe. So I stick to this cool stuff here in America. And then I started taking my friends to those races, and they're like, "Wow, this is actually pretty cool." And I tell them
Yeah, I
like,
know.
you don't gotta have all this. I think I told them you can get like a 4 day for like $150, and you can be bumping elbows with all the big name guys.
I was at Laguna Seca. It's our home race. It's like 30 minutes from our house, right? So I
Okay.
took some of my friends um down to Laguna Seca, and they were like they don't know anything about racing. Actually, a couple of them were like car guys, they
Yeah.
like their cars and working on their cars and stuff, but they didn't know anything about racing. They thought it was awesome, like being able to go in, and they were grateful. Like, you never get to do this at a F1 races, like sit in the car.
Yeah.
And I let them sit in my Mustang, and my brother let them sit in the Lamborghini, and they're like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" Like that's the experience you get. It's just so much better.
There's you don't have to. Everything comes with the ticket, and so it's more, you get the bang for your buck right there. It's like, why wouldn't you want to go do that? I know
Yeah,
people that
exactly.
went to Miami that paid just for the ticket for the race was like almost $9,000.
Holy moly! Are you
That was
serious?
Yeah, that was the first year. Because I wanted to go. I never been to Formula One, and I've always wanted to go. And so that was the year that I graduated high school. So I was like, so mom and dad said, well, look how much tickets are. We can maybe do that as a graduation. And when we started looking, that was like just above general admission was like 9,000. Like, no, we can watch that on TV a lot cheaper. But I have
Yeah,
friends that
that's insane.
I'm like, I don't know why you would pay that much, and it's really not the greatest track, but I guess for
Yeah,
the
I know.
experience, it's pretty cool. But
It's become a celebrity thing now.
yeah, that's kind of. I used to be a all in the Formula One, and then now it's more like how many extra followers can I get on my Instagram if I go to Coda or something.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I got into Formula One because of Daniel Ricciardo, because he was
Yeah,
like the man when I was like just becoming old enough to understand sports. Um, and uh and then I stayed in it because I really like Max Verstappen. But it's and those two guys I see, they're like traditional racers, and now it's become so much of a show. Like a lot of the new drivers, I feel like they're like there for to make an Instagram post or something like that, where
yeah,
it's you
much
don't
like
like them. Like people that I know that are fans of Formula One don't like the drivers for the right reasons. That's what I think.
exactly. I like that you're seeing Verstappen. I think that's the best thing he's done for the whole sport of racing is gone and started his own GT team
Oh
right
yeah,
now. And he's, whether he's in the car or not, that team is constantly up front and he's constantly, you go on Instagram or YouTube and he's, when there's not when it's off weekend, he's at a track around the world driving the car.
yeah. And I love people like that, like real drivers. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? instead of taking a break and going on like a yacht or something, he's driving all the time because he loves it. And it's just, it makes you appreciate people like that because in
Exactly.
racing, we're starting to lose that kind of stuff.
You won't see, we can put Verstappen and I think we're seeing Nico Hulk. A few of them have done some other stuff, but most of them, when their F1 career's done, that's all they're they won't ever hop in something else. I mean, look at today the announcement. Kevin Magnussen's on to do NASCAR. He's doing WEC and IMSA, and now it's on hop into NASCAR.
Wait, that happened today?
Yeah.
I
Um.
did not see that.
Yeah, he's driving with the Trackhouse team. They did that. They've done that '91 car the last couple years.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's gonna do that. He's gonna do it at San Diego later this month.
no way. That's insane. I did not see that.
That's pretty cool. And so I really like that you see more drivers wanting to leave what they're used traditional and go try something new.
It's just going racing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be F1. It doesn't have to be. It can be go karts.
Or
It's racing is racing,
it's,
and I wish more people would see that and appreciate it. You know what I
that's
mean?
yeah. Growing up where I'm from, when I was doing more races than I have been doing the last few years, Georgia is kind of this. There's this misconception if you race, you either want to be a dirt racer or go to NASCAR. And don't get me wrong, those both are really cool, but that wasn't just what I wanted to do. I wanted to go. I grew up watching when I grew up, started watching. There was still the split in IMSA and Formula One was still really cool. And I grew up watching Fernando Alonso was at Ferrari, and it's like that's what I wanted to do. And people never really understood
Yeah.
like outside of where I'm from that there's all these other series. It's you either want to go to NASCAR or do like dirt stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean I can't really relate because the South is very NASCAR.
Yeah,
Like that there's a lot of NASCAR popularity there. And in California there's not really much racing like popularity at all. So just people don't understand. I mean, I know you probably relate like when you're a kid in school and people are like, "You do what?" And they're like, "It's not a
yeah.
sport," stuff like that. Oh,
I remember
that's the
when
worst.
I guess I must have been 12 or 13. I moved from public to a private school. And so it was a lot of, there was my first year getting there. They ask you, like, what do you do? Because, like, I played other sports too, but racing was what I mostly did. I said, well, I spent most of the summer going around all over the place, racing carts and go karts and stuff. And so, people are kind of thinking, like, it's kind of the same thing. You do what? Because everyone there
Yeah.
grew up, they're playing, whatever, baseball, football, and all. And then there was me that I would miss, 2 or 3 days out, every now and then and go to, Daytona and do like Kart Week or something.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So I remember when I got to high school, it got kind of hard because I played football, but I also was trying to race. And so I'd have to miss, during the summer, I would miss, a week of practice to go somewhere to race.
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. I tried playing football my freshman and sophomore year, and I really liked it, and I really did. But my sophomore year, I was like, I was the captain for the JV team at my school, right?
Yeah.
And I was like good, and but the problem was I would miss games, and they would get mad at me for it because I would come back and they would lose, and they would look at me and they would go, well, where were you? And then we had to have a backup start, and it's just too hard to explain. So I couldn't really do it my junior or senior year. But I picked up soccer. I picked up soccer, which I really liked, and it's in the off. It's perfectly in the off season of
Yeah.
racing. It's literally like it starts in November and it ends in February. It's exactly when I'm not racing. So it's really fun. I really liked it, and I played soccer when I was a kid and stuff. And I'm glad I did because I made a lot of friends.
I had kind of a soccer background, and then when I played football, they looked at me because you're the only soccer player on the football team. They look at you and you go, okay, this guy's gonna be our kicker. And
Yeah.
so really, the footwork between soccer and football wasn't hard, but it really kind of helped me as a racer too, getting the footing right on the pedals and stuff. So I didn't think about it at the time, but now looking back, it's like there was a really good correlation between them.
It's just like the kind of the it's like hand-eye coordination but for your
Yeah.
feet. It's like foot-eye coordination almost. Say like knowing how to control your feet better actually help. I think you're right on that. I never thought about it that way, but that's a cool way to
I
put it.
was, I was talking to one of my friends that was he just graduated. He was football and did soccer too, and he kind of asked me, said that when you were still racing, then did it kind of help you some? And I started thinking about it, and you know, when you start thinking about it, really, it makes sense.
Yeah. I I um I think that the conditioning helps a lot too. That was the
Absolutely.
main thing I took away is that it kept me super in shape all the way through the off season and stuff like that. And in the GT car stuff, the GT car stuff is completely different in comparison to the conditioning. It's insane. In the radical, it's difficult and you got a lot of aero load on you, but you're in the air, so you're getting cooled down constantly. Even if it's like 100 degrees, the air going on you so fast, it's gonna feel nice. But in the GT car stuff, it gets hot in there and it's brutal at the end of the races, honestly. And I was not ready for that in Sebring, but I did a lot of running and different like types of work. I would look at the weather and I'll go, oh, it's 90 degrees. I'm gonna go run 5 miles right now. And I've been working on that a lot. And I'm glad I get to drive at walk-ins before walk-ins because that might help me get acclimated to that weather.
You know, looking back at Sebring, that's dead middle of Florida, so you know it's always gonna be hot there. And then
Yeah.
that was something I always I that was the first time I had been to Sebring, and I kind of knew going in it was gonna be warm, and so I can only imagine what it probably got in the car. And then plus those cars are a lot more physical than the Radical. Y'all actually have a manual transmission.
Oh
Y'all
yeah. Yeah. That's hard. I like it though because my daily driver's a manual and a lot
okay?
of cars like my brother's car, if I need to borrow my brother's car, like my whole family pretty much drives manuals still. So it's kind of convenient because I already know how to drive them very well and I can like I don't want to put it this way, but sometimes I practice on the road like my shifting and stuff like that. But I like the manual stuff, but it is brutal and it's super heavy, and the car is, so it's a little bit like it can get physical like towards the end of the races. But I knew that it was gonna be hot, and like I knew Sebring was gonna be hot and all that stuff. But I just raced Sebring in the heat like a couple weeks earlier in the Radical, and I didn't understand because I would hear my brother complain like, "Oh Ryan, wait till you get to GT cars, it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be so hot." And I'll be like, "What is this guy talking about? He's just being like dramatic." And I was yeah, I was like, okay, I'll go in. Like I feel pretty good. I played soccer. I've raced a lot before, and I got in that car. I was like, oh, this is hard. So at the end of the races, I was breathing really heavy. I was like holding on for dear life, but I've gotten more used to it now, and I know what I'm gonna feel like. So I think it helped a lot. At Laguna Seca, I felt so much better, given it was colder, but
Yeah, I was gonna say
still,
the weather there was a little cooler.
yeah.
You know, looking at Laguna, the second race you were on that was the first time you've been in a car in a wet but drying track. Talk about how that was. I know that was a little. The race was kind of odd because you at one point it looked like people were going to try and make it stop to change the tires, but
Yeah.
the tires held on though really well compared because right those last 20 minutes people were really searching for grip and really having to go really offline trying to find just some to cool the tires down.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the race, we were waiting all out there, like watching the forecast on the computer, and they were talking about it's like there's like a 5% chance that we're gonna pull you in and we're gonna make a change for tires, given it like makes the extra time up. And I was like, okay, like it was unlikely to happen, but towards the end of the race, I was like, geez, it might happen because it stopped raining and it kind of got a little bit hot, like not like hot like Sebring, but just enough sun beating on it to where it dried up. And I took the rain tires out, and I've raced in the rain in cars a couple times before. There was like two or three radical races, and actually my first win was in the rain. It
Yeah, that
started
was a
pouring.
wet track. Yeah.
Yeah, in the radical, it started pouring in the middle of the race, and then we had to go in and change, and I won, and I won by like a 10-second gap because in karting I was really good at the rain because I've always been a tall kid,
Yeah.
so I've always had so much like body roll, and in the karts you roll your body to catch grip
Yeah.
in the rain and stuff like that. So I've always been like pretty good in the rain, and I didn't have much expectations. I wasn't going, oh great, I'm gonna win this race now because I got to get used to the car. But I'm happy with what I did. I mean, I was in fourth for a moment and I had good pace. It's just I didn't manage the tire well for what like the track was like. And I kept trying to drive it in harder and I shouldn't have. Like now that I know, like I should have just known my tires they got roached in a couple laps after. So I was trying to drive in super hard and then I started losing pace and that's kind of when it fell apart. But it was a great experience, learning that.
Yeah, you were fighting right up there. I remember you had a really good battle with the points leader Cole Offsguard, and so I know that
Yeah.
really that really gave you some confidence going in.
Yeah, it was helpful to do that because like fighting against a guy like that, he was untouchable at Sebring,
Yeah, he was lights
and
out.
then he did good in a second. In the first race at Laguna Seca, it was cool, like being with that pack because the pack was actually quite close for the whole entire weekend of Laguna Seca. Everyone was like at a similar pace compared to Sebring, which was nice to see for a change. Like you could see the pack in front of you and want to chase them, and it was cool because like I wanted to push to catch those guys, and it helped. And then fighting with Cole Offsguard, it gave me like it helped boost my confidence coming into Watkins Glen because now I know that hey, I can compete with these guys. I didn't at Sebring. I got paced towards the end of the second race, but I wasn't really fighting with any of these guys. And in the last race, now I am. I was like, okay, now we can see what we can do in Watkins Glen. You know what I mean?
How effective is the draft in those cars? Like I said, Sebring was kind of a spread out race. There was, two, three second gaps between them, and then Laguna, it was, kind of a pack race. How do you feel that the draft kind of plays into effect with these cars?
I don't think the draft. I don't notice much of a. I don't notice much of a draft or much aero wash either. Actually, compared to the Radical, there's quite a bit of aero wash just because how like aerodynamic those cars are.
Yeah,
If you just have a little bit of upset air, it's gonna feel bad. But in these cars, the air wash isn't too bad, and I don't notice the draft as much because the thing about the draft is it's 10 times more important to get a better shift than the guy in front of you because the manual than a draft.
yeah,
If I can hit my shift quicker than the guy in front of me, I will gain a tenth over him compared to maybe half a tenth in the draft, or like a hundredth or something like that. So I think it's less important to focus on let me stay in this guy's draft and more important to focus on let's hit the shift as perfect as we possibly can on the straightaway.
as Mid Ohio comes this weekend, and then we look towards Watkins Glen into this month. What tracks do you see coming up on the rest of the schedule? We got VIR, Road America, and Coda to finish out here. Which of those tracks do you really see that really suit your driving style?
I've actually not been to any of these tracks so far, so it's gonna be fun for me to learn all these tracks. But I've been doing a lot of sim racing on Watkins lately, and it's warmed up to me because in a way, a lot of the corners feel they're like a lot of long sweeping 180-degree turns, and I don't know. I just kind of like those kind of corners because they feel very technical. You know what I mean? It's not a
Yeah,
trying to get in there as fast as you can and floor it. It's like who can get the best line and who can get the car rotated the best. So I'm excited for that. But then I know VIR and I really like VIR too. I think I'm excited for that one because it'll be like, I don't know if the Mustangs were going to be jumping those curbs or anything like that, but I'm just excited to see what we can do at VIR. And I don't know much about Coda. I've raced it a couple times on the sim,
yeah.
but I will have to see how that one goes too. I just want to see. I'm excited. I'm more excited to see how the car works on all these tracks rather than like what track I'm most excited for. I'm excited for the challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's always something I always like going into it was just to see where I could improve on. Whether I always wanted to see an improvement in results, but what I could always learn, could build a notebook for when I would go back, say later in the year or the following year.
Yeah, right. It's just more like we said at the beginning, it's more of a development year, but
Yeah,
I want to see if I can find results. You know what I mean? It would be a great way to keep this year rolling and move on into the future.
see, look future. Won't look too far ahead though, but what would be the ideal situation for you? Would you want to come back and do another year of Mustang Challenge, or do you got some other stuff on your mind? Or let's say 5 years. What would be kind of 5 year goal?
Well, in 5 years, I mean, the dream scenario would be racing in GTD racing, but You know, I don't really know how long it's going to take or what my path is going to be right now. And I would say I haven't known for the last like 5 years of racing. Every time we go at the end of the season, last year I thought I was going to be racing a full another year of Radical. And then we got a call from Sam and, he gave us this good program and we said, okay, let's give this a try. And so far it's worked out great. I mean,
Yeah,
I think I'm very happy with my choice and I'm learning a lot and I'm doing well. And, I don't know where I'm gonna go next year. I would love to come back and race Mustang Challenge because it's a great car and it's a great series, and it's good. It's great competition too. The competition is perfect for where I'm at. It's like very high level drivers that are older, so it's a way for me to prove myself in a way. But like if anything else happens, it happens. It's just how racing is.
yeah,
The whole IMSA paddock might implode next year. You just don't know. Look about F1 this year. Now everyone hates it because of new homologations. It's hard
exactly.
to say, but I would love to keep racing Fords. I love Ford. I used to be such a Ford like fan as a
Mhm.
kid. I was a big because one time my dad rented a Mustang convertible
Oh
on a
yeah.
rental car trip when I was like I don't know 8 years old, and ever
Mhm.
since then I fell in love with Fords and just like V8s and stuff like that. So I would love to keep racing for Ford, but racing's racing. Something might happen, but
You
we'll
know,
see.
talking about Ford, and they're just putting in. It's great to be a part with a manufacturer wants to put in so much to their development of their racing stuff. I mean, what other company do you see the CEO out there turning wheels with you, Jim Farley? He'll do the first three races with you this year.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so weird because I see this guy like on Instagram and stuff, like on a news page that I see him like racing with me. But it's so cool to have like, um, in racing, a lot of these big European companies aren't very invested, especially in American racing, like IMSA. So having a big team like Ford going, putting a bunch of like resources into racing right now is so cool to see, and that's why I love racing for them so much. It's having a great like program, having people that back you. It's really cool to see. And I would love to keep racing for them if I had the opportunity.
And not only they invest in their cars, they invest in their drivers. This is the second year of having the Ford race or development racing team, and look what a lot of those guys are doing. Not just Sam, but Jensen Altzman, he's doing really well. They're
Yeah.
all over the world here. Not just Dempsey, they're racing in WEC and GT World Challenge stuff. So it's great to be with a manufacturer that wants to put that much into what they're doing, and Ford's involved in everything, not just sports car racing, NASCAR, Formula One, and even off road stuff is getting really popular.
Yeah, I mean, the Ford Junior Driver Program, it's awesome. I saw Sam do it, and they've treated him very well. So, if I got the opportunity, I would love to join it. But we'll have to see what happens between this year and next year. Um, But other than that, I mean, Ford is just such a big name. It's cool to represent them.
Exactly.
So yeah, I love racing for them, and the car's just cool too.
Yeah, the cars. Who doesn't want to race a Mustang?
I know just the noise. It's like every time you hear the Mustang GTD car go around the track, it's like oh,
That
it's just indistinguishable.
yeah, I wish the challenge had y'all had a little longer schedule too, because those are really awesome cars and they sound great.
Yeah, I know. It's tough, but the challenge kind of follows those single make series. Like my brother in the Lamborghini 6 races.
Yeah,
Same thing. But I do wish we ran with like the GT4 stuff or something like
yeah.
that.
Will we see you, win off this any more Radical Cup races this year? Was Sebring just kind of the it for the year?
We started with Sebring and both of the cars, and we kind of did a thing where it's like, we're gonna do a bunch of stuff and we're gonna see how it goes. And let's say, because we didn't know anything about what we were jumping into in the Mustang, and we knew somewhat about the Radical, and it was a good series and it's a good way to learn. And we jumped into that stuff, and I did good in the Radical. I got first, and I think I was second in the championship after the weekend, and then I went to the Mustang stuff, and I didn't like my results didn't come, but I learned a lot, and I got exposure to the IMSA paddock, and I learned how like these big series is run and how to adapt to a GT car, and so we said. this Mustang is a good path to go down. But I would like to see myself in more radical races this year. We gotta just keep looking for opportunities to hop into it. Radical is a great series. It's a great way to learn and get a lot of track time too.
Yeah. And Radical is a really good series to, coming out of karts. I know so many people that jump into it. It's not only a great learning environment, but it's a real cost-effective series to be in.
Yeah, it's fun. There's a lot of young drivers in it. It's a very like young kind of prove your worth area. I think the average age I was racing against in there was like maybe 19, 20. And like now I'm racing against people who are 27, 30. I don't know how Cole is like in his 30s, I
I
heard.
think something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and a couple other guys. And so it's like it's people with a lot more experience than me. And that's where the challenge comes in. It's like, how can I get around these guys even with less experience?
Looking ahead, I think we've got a really good, bright season ahead of us. I think, results have been improvement each race, and Sebring, you kept up, were able to keep in touch with Chris the whole race, and then at Laguna, where you're fighting right there for the podium, and so I think we got a really good opportunity ahead of us coming up Watkins Glen at the end of the month.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super excited to get the test in and just be able to race there, get the setup dial, all that stuff.
Then once you hop into FP1, it's gonna be a little more seamless. You can kind of go into it, a little faster paced and not having to, kind of, I wouldn't say ride around and learn, but it can be a little more up to speed quicker.
I'll essentially have the first practice session for me in the last two races have been trying to learn the track and been very off pace. And I won't have to deal with that now. I'll have an extra session to get the car setup dialed, get my line just like very precise and everything. So I'll be ready for qualifying.
I remember Sebring, you didn't get in the first couple practice, but maybe what 4 laps just because of the red flags and stuff. It wasn't a lot of
Yeah,
laps you got.
yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, and then you basically got to hop into the qualifying and just send it pretty much and hope it
Yeah,
you learned you picked up enough.
right. It was definitely brutal, but we got through it, and now we have more experience. So I think that the next couple weekends in the Mustang will be a lot better.
But awesome. Well, we can't wait to see what happens here in just about 3 weeks at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. It's gonna be rough because I graduate high school and then I go straight to the test, and then after that I am working at the go-kart track for a little while, and then
Okay.
and then I go to the race. So it's gonna be a rough month, but it's gonna be a lot of racing. So my head will definitely be in it.
Yeah, I saw where Nick was doing some or coaching this week.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We both do some karting coaching. It's good. It's good fun. So we want to keep in the karting world.
we got to get Nick back on the show. He made a I don't know if he told you he wore his WTR Andretti shirt since they're not with Andretti.
Oh geez. So you guys aren't posting that one or?
Yeah, he said he wanted us not to post that one just because he was afraid that, if someone on the team saw it and it had the Andretti since they're not partner with Andretti no more.
Oh yeah, well he's coming back. He's coming back home from work right now, so you might be able to get him on the show. But
Yeah, I texted him. I said see you Friday, so I think we're gonna try and shoot for Friday, or if not, next week will be a little tough because I'm I'm doing online. I'm doing some college during the summer, and then I got GT World Challenge I'm going to at the end of the week, and then
oh yeah, I got
that's
I'm moving into college during my during what is it? I think VIR. Yeah, VIR. I'm moving in for my college dorm, so I have to move in a week early.
oh wow.
So yeah, I'm going to University of Utah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
cool
excited
deal.
for it. Should be a different experience for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
But
I had a great time when I moved back home just during the summer. I love going to college. I don't know about Utah, but where I go, it's a little small college town, and so it's everybody kind of knows everyone. It's always fun up there.
where'd you
Yeah,
go?
Georgia Southern.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nick's
Um,
college came and played us. Was it 2 years ago? It was it was the year that oh
Ashton
Ashton
Genty.
Genty was there.
Yeah. I
Yes,
don't know if I remember that, but
it
that's
was like
cool
the
though.
first do it.
I said that was cool though, but I don't remember them playing, to be honest.
It's
I didn't
okay.
follow Boise too much, but
It
besides the
was
playoffs, that was cool.
yeah, it was cool because like, I we knew we were gonna lose going in, but
Yeah.
like seeing what Ashton Genty did after after that and now in the NFL and also it was pretty cool like getting to see that. And I got to meet him after the
Yeah.
game, so that was pretty cool.
Ashton Genty's special. He's a
Yeah.
good player.
I
I
think he
really
got kind
liked
of
him.
robbed. He got robbed with the Heisman.
Oh, 100%. It's because if you took away one of like if Ashton Genty is a extremely talented runner and he's like the best running back or best offensive player, but if you took away one of Travis Hunter's like let's say he only played offense or only played defense, he would be good. He wouldn't be like exceptional. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
When I was in high school, our quarterback went to a camp up around somewhere in Atlanta. I think it was maybe Georgia Tech or someone had some kind of camp, and and he played or he got to train against Travis Hunter, and they said that there's you got all these people sitting there with cameras and stuff, getting all the Instagram stuff when no one cares about the rest of the people there except what Travis Hunter was doing.
That's cool though. That's cool you get to train with him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because I wanted to I don't know I wanted to kick after high school, but at the same time I was kind of burnt out on it. I was kind of like ready to hop back into the car and just keep doing
Yeah.
that.
A lot of my friends are football players and they're going a couple of my friends are going up like in Northern California to play football and stuff. So that'll be cool.
I
But
liked it because I
yeah.
had one of our long snapper. He didn't get a scholarship, but he walked on and played at Georgia Southern. So we always got like sideline passes and stuff. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. That's sick.
That was cool. Like I never gotten to see it from that angle. But I told people like my favorite game I played was the state championship game. Even though we lost, but it was I got to play on a college. You didn't get many opportunities to play on a college field. So I was like, that's still pretty cool there.
Yeah, our school lost the championship game this year too, but it was close. It was sad.
And
But I mean, I wasn't on the team, but I felt bad for my friends.
yeah, I know the feeling there, but
Yeah.
but Ryan, well, thank you for coming on, and can't wait to see what happens here in a few weeks at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll try and do this again maybe end of the year and get a season recap how your first season of Mustang Challenge goes.
That would for sure definitely be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
it's awesome getting the two brothers back to back, and we got to do
Yeah.
Nick a second time, so we get 3 weeks of 3 weeks of the Person brothers. But appreciate it,
That's funny.
Ryan.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hope to see you later this year.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
We'll see you, Ryan.
Bye.